Is he coming on?
It's been on.
We just have to see if he's there. Ben's there.
Ben's here.
Yep.
We are ready. Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board at Town Hall and forwarding to the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at the Milburn Education Center at 7 p.m. on December 2nd, 2025. Meeting details and the draft agenda were also posted on our township website. Please stand to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, please?
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Here.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Here.
Mr. Sacamandi,
Here.
Mr. Stoller,
Ben, you're on mute.
Present.
Mayor Romano.
Here.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the October 21st, 2025 regular township committee minutes?
So.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the October 21st, 2025 special township committee minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, reports. Deputy Mayor Cole, would you like to start?
Sure. I don't have much today. I just wanted to announce that the Friends of the Milburn Library, the 44th annual student chess tournament is going to be held on Saturday, December 6th at 9:30 at the library. The registration fee is $20 in advance, $25 at the door. And this is the 44th annual. This is a Milburn tradition, and I encourage everyone to sit in chess to attend. The only other thing, the zoning code subcommittee continues to meet. We've given it's the end of the year. We will not be pushing forward any new ordinances because we can't pass them over the course of when the year changes. But we continue to work on improving definitions of usage so that it's clear and not so vague what a principal usage of a business is. There were a lot of categories that were mentioned but had no definition. And we also continue to work on coming up with design standards for non-residential properties to help reduce the questions that come before the zoning officer.
Thank you. Could you second maybe, Jen?
Sure. So the Environmental Commission has accepted its first student environmental group member. Milburn High School student Elena Parker will be conducting a research project analyzing how microplastics released from washing machines affect plankton in our local waterways. The Environmental Commission will soon have a student interest form posted on their township webpage. The commission encourages students in grades 8 through 12, whether you're in public school or private school, you can apply, who have demonstrated an interest in environmental sustainability, may apply to join the student environmental group and receive mentoring from members of the commission. For the planning board, it's a meeting tomorrow. There's no application scheduled on the agenda. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. No real reports other than to kind of highlight with the Arboretum. They have a fundraising event called Beak Week. That's B-E-A-K. Beak Week. It's April 17th through the 24th. And if you go to their website, you can find out there's all kinds of stuff that can be done with the kids, with the adults, sponsorships, etc. Thank you.
Commitment Stoller?
Thank you. Recreation Committee, nothing much there. Basketball and wrestling practices are starting up. If you have kids, grandkids, such want to play. SID, Special Improvement District. This is a fun one. Explore Milburn Short Hills is actually doing a raffle. All you have to do is submit your receipts and you can win up to twice your receipt in a gift card. up to the amount of $500. So if you get a $200 receipt, you can submit it. You can win up to $400. A couple ways to submit the receipts. You can go to marketing@exploremilburnshorthills.org and just email it to that website. You can get that off their website, or there's a quote unquote Santa's mailbox, which is at the clock tower in downtown. Just grab one of the envelopes provided and deposit your receipt for entry into this. The winter villages are this Saturday, December 6th, and Saturday, December 13th, from 3 to 7 p.m. at Town Hall Plaza. Obviously, there's going to be igloos again, s'mores, fire pits, custom characters, and hot chocolate Santa, and a lot more fun things to do. BOE, not much going on right now, getting into the holiday season. Joint facilities, we had a good joint facilities meeting between the BOE and the rec committee, which I sit on, to talk about the additional proposed high school field upgrades and bringing more fields. There is a link for feedback with an facts and questions section on the rec website. If you'd like, go read those. And we'd love to gather. We had quite a number of people show up, so it was very encouraging that everyone was there. Mountain Valley Emergency Communications Center, we're going to have our meeting later this month. Open Space Tax Fund, there was a meeting last night, still working out the rubric, the metrics. Did some test sites to see how they came through. Everything seems to be moving well there into the new year. Affordable housing, I'll defer to council, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hall.
Nothing to report from the administration for this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Cantor.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Just a brief affordable housing update. As the public's aware, we give an update at every meeting to keep the public informed as to what's going on in our fair share housing in the fourth round. We do have an objection from RPM, which is the same developer we're suing in the third round and have an appeal for the 9 Main Street project. They're trying to block us from getting fourth round compliance based on the litigation in the third round involving the project. We're currently scheduled for our session on December 11th, which is it's like a trial, it's a hearing where the court will look at all the issues and determine it. We have had a mediation. We've had 2 mediation sessions with RPM. There's nothing to report now on that, but conversations are continued between the township and RPM. We're hopeful for a resolution to our issues in the fourth round. No further report, Mayor, unless there's any questions from the committee.
Thank you. With all the Milburn 250 activities taking place, I just wanted to take a minute to recognize all the contributions made by our students for the 250 activities. Their involvement began with our wonderful Milburn 250th logo, designed by Milburn High School junior Jonah Dovdani, and unveiled at the July 4th festivities. Since September, 2 Life Scouts from Scouting Troop 19 in Short Hills have completed important leadership service projects honoring Milburn's history. Cecilia Liang restored and repainted the chain fence surrounding the Parcel House Cemetery on White Oak Ridge Road and Parsonage Hill Roads. And Sarah Abraham Winker revitalized the grounds of the American Legion Veterans Memorial in Milburn. Milburn High School students and members of Troop 19 also led a Constitution Day program at the Bauer Center on September 17th. And most recently, a group of Milburn High School students conducted a walking tour of the Revolutionary War sites in Milburn on November 15th. Their contributions are inspiring. Their dedication reflects the very best of Milburn, and they're willing to invest time and effort in serving our community. We will see more examples of this in the coming weeks, including a Bill of Rights Day on December 15th. And I thought it would be just nice to take a moment to thank these students and appreciate all their hard work. Mr. Guma. Thank you for being here.
That was a great segue into what I'm going to talk
I
about.
didn't know whether to do it before or after.
It was perfect, perfect. So with regard to the 250, my name is Bob Gould. I'm a 30-plus year resident of Short Hills. Trustee of the Forgotten Victory Trail Association. We were the ones that were responsible for initiating the kiosk that's in Taylor Park that commemorates the Revolutionary history of Millburn. So we have a new project, and this project, my organization, which is a 501c3, has signed a letter agreement with an organization called the William G. Pomeroy Foundation. And they provide funding for historical markers, much smaller than the one we had. They're roadside markers as opposed to large national park like structures. So we've got a letter of agreement from them to do 20+ signs in Essex, Morris, and Union counties. So being a Short Hills resident, I identified 5 potential signs that we can do. And I think Alex may have shared with you the locations of those signs. So this is part of their grant program that's called Hometown Heritage. And it commemorates people, places, things, or events that are historically significant to the larger community. And they're commemorated with historical roadside markers. The Pomeroy Foundation provides grants that specifically pay for the entire cost of the marker, the pole, and the shipping. The grantee, which in this case would be Forgotten Victory Trail Association, is responsible for the installation, and that generally includes participation from the local public works, so your folks installing the sign, or a highway department or a civic organization. So we're recommending 5 signs to be located in the Township of Millburn. Do you want me to go through those 5 locations, or are you?
Just for everyone's awareness, sure.
So, and all of these, I'll try and briefly explain the relevance of each location to the Revolutionary War. So Paper Mill Playhouse was the location where the British in 1780, during the Battle of Springfield, tried to flank the American forces which were in downtown Millburn. So in the course of that fighting, which was hand-to-hand, John Graves Simcoe, who was in charge of the Queen's Rangers, which is part of the British forces, took on Light Horse Harry Lee, father of Confederate General Robert E. Lee, at that location. So we're going to try and briefly state, because these signs are rather small, we're going to briefly state the action that took place at that location. So that's Paper Mill. The second spot is Millburn Middle School, which was originally, we call it the Bryson Farm, but it was owned by several different families. So that's right up on the knoll. And that was the place where many residents of Springfield, of which Millburn was then a part, that's where they escaped during the Battle of Springfield. So when the British were coming in and invading, they took refuge up on that hill. So that's the second location. The third location is the Hessian House. Now, we all know about the legend of the Hessian House. These signs require primary source documentation, which means that you have to have period-specific correspondence or sources to verify that that action took place. In the case of the Hessian House, we can't verify the legend, but we do know for a fact that that house stood there when the British were attacking down Millburn Avenue, coming from the Vauxhall Bridge fighting. So we intend to have the sign indicate something like, this house built in 1730 saw the action of the British invasion down Millburn Avenue during the Battle of Springfield. So that's the third. The fourth is downtown Millburn, right in front of the Millburn Standard. Right, and all of this will be on public land as opposed to private property, all these signs. But 40 Main Street was the site of the quartermaster's location. The quartermaster of the 3rd Regiment was Reverend James Caldwell. And that building, the original building, housed his quartermaster site. So we intend to mark that accordingly. And the last location is Washington Rock, which everyone's familiar with. That has a plaque up top on the hill. If you take the hike up there, there's a plaque dedicated to the fact that George Washington and Lafayette and others stood at that point to look over Tree Grove. And we intend to put a sign down probably around where you enter to take the hiking path on, what's that road there?
Glenn?
Glen Avenue. So we intend to put one down there. So those are the 5 locations. So what we're seeking, there's 3 things. One is for the Township of Milburn to approve the signage proposal for 5 signs. Again, the cost is already covered by Pomeroy. The only thing we would need is approval to use that land, which requires a permission letter. So each of those sites, we just need Milburn, and I've provided Alex with a template on your letterhead that would say you can use that these signs will be placed there should Forgotten Victory Trail get this grant approved. And last but not least would be to have the Public Works Department install those cost-free signs when we do receive them. So those are the 3 actions.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
The township would own the signs after they're installed,
Yes,
and would there any time duration the township would be required to keep them in place?
no,
So we're good if we move on? So is everybody,
Do we need a resolution or
do we need a resolution or we just?
you probably could follow the same action we did with the kiosk downtown, which is, I guess, just approval from the community.
You sent Alex a letter to put on our letterhead?
Yeah, these land use permission letters are on your letterhead, and they state for each of the 5.
I would have to look at it, but we could take a straw poll here, and if we don't need a formal resolution or ordinance, we could go with that. But if we do, I'll come back and we'll have to just take a formal legislative action. When do you need the letter by?
Well, this application cycle to Pomeroy is December 4th.
Oh.
Tim?
Could you have Alex send me that letter? I'll look at it tonight.
I can forward, if you want, I can forward the template. I sent them 5. They're all identical except for the address, 5 letters.
And you're okay with it also?
Yep, yep.
Thumb up. And I think the other thing I didn't add is this is a great compliment to what we're doing for the 2.
Oh, it's wonderful. Oh, it is.
So I think it's,
Even if we need to take legislative action, we could probably, given that you have unanimous opinion, we could probably let it go and follow up the legislative action after, given your timeline, if everybody's okay with that.
Yes.
Fine.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment. When invited to speak to offer your comments, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and whether you are a Milburn resident and or property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, seeing your meetings are recorded and readily available to the public. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session. You will be prompted when there are 30 seconds remaining. A reminder that this is not a time for dialogue or to debate a matter. This is a time during our business meeting for the public to offer comments. I will now open public comment.
Good evening, my name is Jeffrey Feld, 30-year President Moore, resident. I support, the sign and hopefully hope that done, because I took the walking tour with my wife and we should be recognizing the history of this town. My comments are really limited to right now, this preliminary time, the agenda items. We have various, one is like fiscal responsibility, we have 3 resolutions regarding tax refunds, tax credits. I think I've been asking why we don't list anymore the street address of who the recipients are, and cumulatively, how much we have expended or given credits for in the calendar year. As to the Town Hall Plaza temporary holiday closure, when you look at the resolution, you don't state what is the state enabling statute that allows you to do what you're doing. We understand it will be approved, but I think the public should understand that we used to have long-time people remember what we used to do around Christmas time, the first 2 weeks of December with the snowflake parade, which was an annual rite of passage for anyone with children. And we don't have that anymore at the Winter Village. The question, I think, those were more community building rather than igloos in s'more pits. As to the approval right of way permitting, that goes back to cell towers, and I've been asking, is there a list of all the locations that we've had cell towers on? I think that could help us. Also, I'm excited that you're extending the services like Civic Plus for transparency and accountability. But what additional services will Civic Plus be providing under this edition? It's not set forth in the resolution. I think it is today. I support the opposition to Senate Bill 4736, and I think we should be a little bit proactive. And when we go back to the zoning amendments, look at what Edison is doing, where they're going to be asking for like environmental impact statements, and that we become a little bit more proactive in this. And I'll speak later about other things based on your new business presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. I'm Carlin, 32 plus year resident of Milburn, not a property owner. And I was just a little bit dismayed what's happening with Essex County and with some of the Democratic leadership in Essex County. I just happened to read yesterday that dozens of Democratic district leaders signed a letter requesting delay of party convention for NJ-11. Unfortunately, 3 of the Democratic leaders sitting in front of me did not sign that. Others in the township here have signed that. And I think it's very, very important that there should be some sort of delay and people in the township have an opportunity to understand, to state the reasons why they should be delayed. You know, this is the township. But this is a very important matter of what's happening in the United States of America. And that affects everyone here. So a political person overall. But I remember Hurricane Ida. I do remember our representative of the time at the time who was here, who set up a table outside and helped us, and others who have been around. I do feel that it is incumbent upon the township representatives to listen to some of the residents in town who really would prefer that they not support the resolution, did not endorse until they hear this. You are free to do what you want, of course, but when I saw in the newspapers yesterday, the number of committee people representing Newport, representing Millbury, I think that I am very, very upset, not that I am, but many people are upset with the way the representation is handled in Essex County. Sorry about that.
Anyone else?
This is public comment, right? And I apologize.
No,
So it's
you're good.
I had some other questions for later in the evening. I just wanted to ask a quick question about holiday decor, while we don't really have any holiday decor up for the holidays, and particularly like other towns like Summit and Downham. They threw it all away. I brought that up last year and they didn't do anything about it. Is that like a statement about not having that ever again? I was just curious because our town looks sort of dead. Riverdale has holiday decor up. The surprising looks on everybody's face.
So I think we'll respond.
Oh, okay, no, it's just everybody has a look of like, I said something horrible, I was just curious, because I mean, I didn't see like, we had menorah up last year and different lights and we had, Christmas or snowflake decorations and I don't know if they were thrown in the trash. But it's not really compelling, I wouldn't wanna come and shop in Milburn, it kind of looks dingy. And this just, goes back a lot to my feelings about Explore, but so I'm just keeping it simple, so maybe somebody could respond. And then I wanted to ask, there was an event at, Taylor Park, celebrating the high holidays with the High Center. And I would want to ask why other denominations of Judaism were not invited to that event. You know, i.e. modern Orthodox, conservative, and liberal and Reform Jews. I was wondering why they weren't and why it kind of felt a little weird, like Charo Goyal sort of organized that event and there was only people from the Democratic Party. And we're in, I think some type of active litigation. So I just wanted to bring that up and maybe you can answer that. Thank you. Thank you.
Charles Van Barren, 180 resident of Short Hills. Next Monday night, there is a public information session for the Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee. I have a question whether non-resident persons that continue to be on the flood mitigation committee are going to participate in that presentation. That's the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Mr. Carla, I am a resident of the Township House. I would like to understand what is the committee doing for the winter preparation in terms of snow plowing and parking for downtown area. Thank you.
Can you repeat the beginning? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The winter storm preparation for the climate weather.
Thank you.
What is the township preparation and what are the restricted parking? As well as like the slow down.
Thank you. Is there anyone online?
Hi, good evening. Jamie Cerudo, lifelong Millburn Short Hills resident and proud Township Committee member-elect. I want to just thank the public for their support and say that I am very excited to work with all of the Township Committee members up on the dais currently and Township staff. Proud of all the work that went into this movement. And I'm looking forward to serving. I want to thank everybody. And I want to thank Annette for her service to the township. And I want to congratulate Michael on his reelection. And I'd like to thank my running mate, Chris, for his unbelievable work and support. I think I put out a statement online and going to be putting it other places as well. But I'm really looking forward to, bringing the community together, lowering the temperature, and treating each other as neighbors. Let bygones be bygones. This certainly was not a pain-free period, but I'm really looking forward to working for One Millburn Short Hills and have a great holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, etc. And we'll see you around town. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay, I will now close public comment. Committee of the second one, who's like this, well?
Sure. Just best with regards to the holiday decor, I'm gonna have to defer to the township on that. I think in the past, there's been some where I would imagine there should be some coordination with Explore. But perhaps you could fill us in on that. Mr. Bambera, we've had discussions about what we want to do in terms of maybe implementing some new policies with regards to when someone moves out of town, whether they stay on a committee. I think that's something that we're gonna address in the new year. But at the moment, as it stands, the individual that's on the flood mitigation committee that moved out of town is still technically on the committee until the end of the year. So it'll be up to that person whether they decide to participate in committee proceedings, info sessions, et cetera. But, you know, I think it is something that we as a township committee will discuss. And, you know, there's certain boards and commissions that we can put a regulation on, and then there's others that we can't. So we'll need to work with Jared to figure that out. But I think having a well-defined policy would be a good thing, and we'll address that next year. Mr. Feld, I don't know that we have a list of locations for cell towers. There's actually a lot of information online. There's a number, if you Google cell phone tower maps, there's a number of different nonprofits that put up cell phone tower maps, and you can actually drill down by carrier and by frequency and whatnot. So I mean, I'll defer to Tim as to whether we have a list, but that information is relatively easy to find in a public place if you're really interested in that. Mr. Bala, regards to how we prepare for the winter, you know, I think again, I'll defer to Tim on this, but you know, I would say we do a very good job in this town of preparing, over preparing for inclement weather. We've been fortunate the past few years not to have a lot of snow. It's one of the effects of climate change. But rest assured, our DPW, they prepare in every way necessary, and they always deliver outstanding service. So I think this winter will be no good. Mr. Ceruto, thank you for your remarks. I think one thing that you touched on that I'll expand on is we've had an election. It was difficult at times, but now that the election is over, it's time for the community to come together, work together. I think we're all very excited about the prospects for next year. We have a very good set of individuals up on this dais. I, for one, am looking forward to what we'll accomplish next year. You know, I'm also excited for the work the Charter Commission is going to do to look at alternative forms of government, and we'll see what comes of that. But I really do hope that as a town, we can all bring down the temperature on some of the politics and focus on what we can do to move forward as a town and work together. So the others will share in that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Committeeman Castro?
Nothing to add. Thank you, Mayor.
Committeeman Stoller?
Thank you. Thanks for everybody for who gave a public comment. We appreciate every one of you guys. No responses at this time. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Cohen?
Yeah, I would just like to, you know, to thank Committeeman-elect Ceruto for his remarks, and certainly as far as my own reelection, I also would like to thank everyone for their support. And I do agree, you know, the election is over, we put it behind us. And just as we did on committee business, we all need to work together even when the election was going on. And I see no reason why that would not be the case next year.
Mr. Candy, what else?
I have nothing to add unless maybe has any questions.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, so just to respond to a couple of questions. First and foremost, regarding Mr. Phelps' question with Civic Plus. We have used Civic Plus for a lot of services, including our website. We also use that for our open request portal. And as the Civic Plus has grown and acquired more companies, it's just very important to put that on the agenda as far as how large that is getting. We're also going to be doing some process improvements to the website, including upgrading for accessibility purposes. We have an AI chatbot that we're investigating, incorporating into the website, and also looking at a see-click fix portal that Civic Plus offers. So all of these are things that we're hoping to upgrade just to increase the overall accessibility and productivity for the overall for the public. To Ms. Beth's question, that Mr. Secomandi asked about the, holiday decor, there's actually gonna be some decor going up starting tomorrow, where you're gonna be building on some of the work that was done last year in conjunction with the SID. We're gonna be having decorations over at lot 1, and also in the courtyard. There's some decoration starting, you're gonna see that going up. We're also DPW is gonna be wrapping Leak Street poles. That's gonna be happening, I believe this weekend, or around that timeline as well. All that is gonna be happening before the Winter Villages, socializing events get started. Mr. Secretary, I'm not sure, I just don't, I'm not aware if we have a list of all the polls, but that, if that's something we can look into, that doesn't mean that doesn't necessarily exist, I'm just not aware of that. And finally, regarding the winter storm preparation, that's something that, as Mr. Secretary said, the Department of Public Works is actively involved, and always watching as any storm approaches, so with the events that could have happened with this storm, that could have been today, DPW is actively watching that. There's always communication between the police department to inform Public Works if there is going to be any storm, if there's any accumulation that's starting to happen on the roads. And DPW is prepared to salt, brine, or anything else to make sure that we're able to quickly respond and distribute as soon as possible.
Snowplows are not supposed to plow your driveway out in the street, right?
No,
Okay, just keep that in mind.
Public space.
And you know, this would be an opportunity to encourage people to sign up for rave, because when there is a storm coming, there is always those messages that come out advising people of what the latest forecast is and what they should do. We saw that in some of the heavy rains over the summer, and of course, we'll see that again, you know, if there's a snowstorm.
Yes, no, that's a great point. We communicate as much as possible. We get thoughts, emergency management alerts, and we push those down as quick as we can.
The only item I wanted to add was the event at Taylor Park. I don't know, that was not a town sponsored event, so I'm not sure who was around organizing it. I was invited to it. And that was all I wanted to comment on.
Yeah, I was invited to it too, but I didn't know, I had no
I had
idea
no
what
idea
the
who was gonna
guidance
be
seating
there
guest
or who
list.
put it together.
That's right.
Okay. Consent agenda resolutions. The township will now consider consent agenda resolutions. Are there any comments from the committee in regard to any of the items listed on the consent agenda? May I have a motion to approve resolution 25-253 through resolution 25-261, which are listed on the consent agenda. May I have a second?
That's it.
Roll call vote, please.
Deputy Mayor Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Cosgrove,
Yes.
Mr. Secomandi,
Yes.
Mr. Stoller,
Yes.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the committee in regards to resolution 25-262? I have a motion to approve. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to kind of move motion to adopt it. It's really critical. I maybe explain what this is about. There's a bill that may end up getting passed by the lame duck session in Trenton that would allow religious institutions to go around any kind of zoning laws and build high density property on their land. And we're, you know, I just don't think that's the right thing to do. And I hope it doesn't pass, but you know, other towns will be ahead of us, have already passed similar opposition resolutions. And I expect we will be doing the same in a couple of minutes.
And I believe the New Jersey League of Municipalities is also opposing this bill or some aspects of it. It really erodes, you know, in New Jersey, we have this concept of home rule. And to have the state come in and say that they can just override our local zoning, I think is an affront to the concept of home rule. So I'm glad that we as a township committee are standing firm against this. I would encourage every resident to contact our two assemblywomen and our state senator and tell them if you have major concerns about this bill, that this is something that you don't want, assuming that you don't want it. The more they hear from residents, the more ammunition they have to make changes or oppose it. And, this is one of those things where we all have to do our part to try and lobby those that get to vote and make these decisions on the state level to make the right choice.
And just want to add, this issue is real because what we're seeing amongst various religious institutions, we know that times are tough. And so they're looking at doing mergers with other similar institutions. So if two institutions merge, well, they still own the land that they're not using. If they use one institution's building, the other one is certainly something that could be demolished and built high density housing.
Yeah.
Well beyond anyone's zoning rules. So it's important that this not go through.
Yeah, going up to 40 units an acre is what they're saying, and an entire extra story beyond whatever is already zoned in that area. So
And a
just
guaranteed pilot.
What, again?
icing on the cake.
And they're also guaranteed a pilot.
Yeah, I think that density is very important. That's a very high density too. I can tell you, I support this. I've already sent my own email, out to the elected officials.
Thank you.
Pushing them on this, making sure they recognize that a lot of the religious institutions too are not necessarily on a major street. Some of them are in neighborhoods. That makes a big difference as well.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 25-262?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. Oh, sorry.
Third.
Deputy Mayor Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Fosco?
Yes.
Mr. Sacramenti?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Yes.
Mayor Romano?
Yes.
You.
There is nothing for old business, new business. Mayor and Sacramento, we're going to talk about the Environmental Commission's recommendations for the support for the
Sure. So I think that gave a preview of this last meeting. The Environmental Commission has taken it upon themselves to make a recommendation that the Township Committee look into the feasibility of acquiring the old Exxon station, sort of at the edge of town, the Milburn Vauxhall border. It is a site that does have known contamination, at least according to state databases. So, this is something that could be very expensive. If we were to acquire it, we're still paying cleanup costs on, another former gas station. It's been over 20 years, but I think that what the Environmental Commission is really asking for is the town do due diligence, to figure out whether this is something that makes sense for us to acquire, find out what the price is, find out if there's any public sources of funding that could make sense to help with this. So that's what this is about. And I believe that as a township committee, we've already decided to take the next step and look into what the options are, what the price is. Because if you're gonna make a decision on something, you need to know all the particulars.
I would just like to go on record to say that I know that's what we've agreed, but I'm opposed to even going this far. I suspect that when that gas station was acquired at Lot 1 by on Essex Street, no one thought that 20 years later, I'm sure the analysis didn't come up saying, and you'll be paying for it for 20 years. And if it did, then shame on them for buying it, but whatever, that was 20 years ago. To me, I think we've just tripled the abandoned property fees, and I think that it should be somewhat of an incentive for the current owner to clean it up or sell it to somebody who will, and the town is not the purchaser of last resort. So I know I don't have the votes. I know 3 people agreed to go ahead, at least maybe 4 agreed to go ahead with this, but I am opposed to even going to the next step.
Committeeman Costco?
Yeah, if I could just add, this location was the subject of discussion at the open space meeting last night as well, to some extent. But I would add in that, in order for me to support this, we have to have the investigation, which I think everyone agrees we need to investigate whether or not there's contamination, how bad it is, and what it would cost to clean it up. My understanding is that there is a grant or money available from the state to do both of those without committing the the town to find the property. So I do think we have the ability to do that. I can tell you too, I sent an Oprah request out to the New Jersey DEP to get their records. I've sent that off to Alex. I don't know if he's looked at it yet, it was a lot of stuff. But it's out there. And if any one of you wants what I got from the state, let me know and I'll email it to you. And I'm still reviewing it as well.
Committeeman, Stoller, I'm sorry.
No, as discussed, I think it behooves us to have full transparency, understand the obligations, understand what it takes to get to success. So I think we're in that process now, and let's be methodical, let's be intelligent professionals, get the data and go from there.
Okay, so we'll do that.
The second piece of the Environmental Commission's recommendations was their recommendation on doing away with the landscaper licensing fees. We talked about this a little bit last time, and I think, Jared, you're going to look into what our options were with regards to taking action. So, or temporary action now, if that's feasible.
Yeah, so I can have a resolution on the next meeting, directing the committee directing the administration not to enforce the fees until the ordinance can be passed. And then we can get an ordinance adopted within the first couple meetings of next year, eliminating that registration fee.
So let me just add, we pay a fee for everything in this town. We pay for a dog license, we pay to remove a tree. So why aren't we charging a landscaper a fee to register? Maybe not $200, but $100.
Yeah, I think I personally agree that if we have a fee for everything else, we should have a fee for this. I don't know if $200 makes sense, and I also think that this being a new ordinance, maybe we have, the first year, we don't charge the fee, because it behooves the town to get all of these landscapers registered so that we know how to contact them when, issues come up, or, if there's going to be changes to rules or ordinances, or if, there's a storm, let's say, and we decide to temporarily suspend the seasonal restriction on the gas-powered leaf blowers so that the, landscapers can use the necessary equipment to clean up after the storm. We want to have a way of reaching them. So, I think the Environmental Commission was getting a lot of pushback from landscapers themselves. I think they're somewhat blindsided by this fee. But I do agree with Mayor Romano, we have a fee for everything else. At some point, we probably ought to have some sort of fee here. I just don't know if we need to do that in the first year.
Did anybody hear from any landscapers? Did anyone hear from any landscapers?
Well, I saw landscapers up in arms about it. Yeah, I've spoke to a lot of landscapers. No
They
one
reached out to you that they were upset over the thing.
in speaking, yes. I don't know, as I speak to a few of them quite a bit. So, yes.
I didn't hear from any.
I've also seen some posts on social media, Happy Milburn,
But
but I mean, yeah,
people
people complain all the time. I think the EC, some of the EC members specifically have received direct communication from landscapers. I know
But
some
which they
talk to the
shouldn't,
EC members.
because the township committee is the one that put forth that ordinance, not the EC. So they should have directed it over to the township committee, just like everybody else. Contact the township committee, contact the township.
Well, I think that's what the EC is doing here. They put together a formal resolution making a recommendation. We're not under any obligation to adhere to that, listen to that, but
I agree 200 might be a little.
we're the
No, I think it's, maybe we do want to suspend it for an initial period, because it is important to get everyone registered. And the other thing, in addition to everything that you said, it also allows us to confirm that they have the adequate insurance, which we are not able to do today. So, once we do that, and there is some cost associated with doing all of that research. So, there's not much that's free, and maybe we do have a grace period because it's new, and then set what the appropriate price is after the grace period.
Just a reminder, it's an annual fee.
Right.
Yeah. So once you get it collected, they're gonna be charged next year.
Right.
So
Like a
we're-
dog license.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a dog list. So what do we wanna do? What's the conclusion here?
My recommendation is that we would suspend the fee for the first year. And I think that in the new year, when we're able to make changes, we should figure out whether $200 is the appropriate amount. Or it should be some other amount. I guess we'll have to look at the fees for other types of.
For the resolution, because I do have a draft on my desk, it's sunset. So it basically gives the committee a year to either eliminate the fee, or now you're talking about reducing the fee. And then the direction, administration not to enforce does sunset in the resolution itself. So you can do whatever you want.
And I would ask, Tim to, if you could come up with some kind of ballpark estimate, doesn't have to be to the penny, as to what it will cost the town to maintain this registry and, do the research into the insurance and all that kind of stuff. So that we, and I guess we have some sense as to how many landscapers there are, so that we know what because the fee should cover those costs. But, we're not looking to make money, but per se, we're looking to cover our costs.
Yeah, we can look into that, and just to note, and I know it's been a discussion that there's hope to get a fee ordinance in front of the township committee at some point. This is something that you could set a range and then establish that annually through the fee ordinance. Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Good. Hey, public comment. There was one
Special
more.
improvement district.
There was one. I thought there was three, because I'm missing a page. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I do have it. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Deputy Mayor, do you want this one, or maybe a second, whoever?
We said we would talk about the changes to Frank and I met, and we met with people from the SID. We talked about various changes that we might consider making to the special improvement district. There were several that Mr. Sacramento and I agreed to that didn't survive the rest of the township committee, so I can't go into what those were. But what I can say is that the two main ones that are changing is we're proposing to have a tiered structure for the assessments, where the businesses in the downtown will be paying 60% of the budget, and all the other districts will then pay the other 40%. That's based on the fact that the SID does a lot of things that help the businesses behind the scenes that the public doesn't necessarily see directly. So therefore, the other districts do benefit from it. However, given the geography of the town, most of the events, with the possible exception of that summer street fair we had on Upper Milburn Avenue, almost all the other events, if not all the other events, were in downtown. And we do feel that the downtown businesses benefit more from those. But as I said, there's much more to the SID than just the events. There's all sorts of business assistance and web development and marketing assistance and promotion and all that kind of thing. So that's the major change. And then the other change was in terms of the composition of the board, where today there needs to be 2 tenants and 2 property owners, and I think we are suggesting that be grouped together into 4 people, one of whom has to be from the group, but it has been difficult to fill it when it's 2 and 2. So it just gives more flexibility to fill the positions. I think those are the 2 changes. Did I leave anything out?
Yeah, those are the 2 changes that the committee decided to, bring forth to the table today. And, we had considered some other things. I think one of the things that I was surprised about was we were able to look on a granular level as to, those behind the scenes services that the SID provides to businesses in all of the districts. And at least I was surprised to see how many businesses actually did take advantage of those services. I think that if you provide a benefit to the businesses in town, some of this might be, advice, help with permitting, or, other back-end procedural stuff that needs to happen when you're opening or you're running a business in town.
Recording in progress.
Business. So this is definitely, you know, I found.
Recording in progress.
Business. So this is definitely, keep doing that. All right.
I think Ben's hitting the.
Yeah, so lost my train of thought, but yeah, basically, you know, I think the SID does provide a lot of good benefits to the businesses in town, but we felt that the tiered structure was going to be more appropriate. You know, given that a lot of the events are downtown focused, then it makes sense for a lot of these events to be in the downtown. That is an area that is conducive to having these type of events. So, you know, hopefully this is a good enhancement to the SID ordinance that we've had in place for a few years. And I think it was great that we took the time to look into the ordinance and really dig into the details and see what benefits it provides and what we can help with.
Committeeman Cosgrove, would you like to add in?
Just, you know, a thank you to Michael and Frank for doing all that work. I do support it as, you know, as is. I had some comments on the actual language, which I guess we'll sort out, you know, over time as it gets introduced, et cetera. So thank you.
Committeeman Stoller, do you want to add anything? You're muted.
Yeah, as sitting as liaison on the Explorer, I think these guys did some great work, and I agree with everything Michael and Frank said. And I look forward to seeing how it goes.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna go ape shit now.
Our final public comment. This public comment period is to allow for final comments from the community. When invited to speak to offer your comments, please come to the lectern. Clearly state your name and whether you are a Millburn resident and property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, saying our meetings are recorded and readily available to the public. A reminder that in order to help facilitate an orderly meeting and to promote all to be heard, people shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session. I will now open public comment.
Hi, everyone. Richie Cyber, resident. Christine Best, you're right. I was in Warren last week. I drove through the center of town. Looked beautiful. Christmas lights, Hanukkah. It's an easy thing to do. So I'm glad that it's going to be done. I'm looking forward to see what it looks like when it's done. I'm glad you're talking about the licensing of landscapers. I think it's important that all the landscapers, whether they want to pay a license fee or not, they should have their trucks marked with their license number being a registered landscaper, which shows that they have insurance, they have a name, and they have a phone number, so that if you want to reach them, maybe you want to hire them, but they should have, their truck should be marked with their business name.
Landscape.
That's what I think. And if they don't want to get a license, if you have a dog and you don't get a license, what's the fine? Is there a fine? There's a fine, I think. There's a fine. There should be a fine. You don't want to get a license? Oh, it's okay, we'll just fine you. So it'll cost you more in your fine than it would get the license. Make the fine bigger than the license fee, and you'll get everybody licensed.
Al Carlin, resident. There's a question that I came about 5 years ago. I came here for the first time, and the issue was enforcement. And there's always been a problem concerning enforcement of certain statutes, whether it's township statutes or state statutes. And yes, as you are very well aware, it's required by law by the state of New Jersey, if you're licensed in certain areas like electrical and so forth, you are required to have it on your vehicle in a certain size. Your telephone number, your license registration, and you must have where you are coming from. It is required by statute. It is required. And township, of course, can issue a violation, go to municipal court. I believe, I'm not an attorney, but I believe this is correct. I came here 5 years ago, there were 25 violations in my particular building. There were no permits obtained for changing the fuse boxes. But guess what? It took over a year and a half, and it was a miracle. Sometimes there are miracles. This particular management company wound up with 0 fine, not $50,000 that could possibly have gone to the township of Milford because a $2,500 fine for a violation. They got 0, not $1, not $2, 0. That's not, well, that's what happened. But if you know the right people, it seems, according to the folks in Essex County, that could possibly be the case. Okay, I'm radical, but this is not right, and it's all about enforcement. Now let's talk about landscapers. Who is going to do the enforcement? How is it gonna be done? What's the viability here? Who's gonna go chase the trucks, measure everything? These are the things. That's what what I'm concerned about is small businesses. How can we help the small businesses in town? And is there any way to say buy more from the small businesses versus Home Depot, with the store over there? Because if there's any way, their Home Depot purchases, their Granger and other operations, if there's any way to purchase locally more than say Home Depot, Lowe's or whatever. I mean, just a thought. I would like to see us support our small businesses because that's important, because they're going against Amazon and things like that, and Walmart, as you know. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jeffrey Feld, 30-year resident. I'm still getting shocked about the landscaper fee ordinance. Because I was involved in a case in Orange, Feld versus Orange. Feld 7, where we invalidated an annual registration statement by landlords. And the case law is not a profit center to make when you issue a permit, a registration fee. And the question is, how did it ever get to the board without that analysis, where the case law is clear that it should go and cover your cost, that it should not be a revenue generator? I just don't understand how we got to this point. As to the SID, the judge still has not entered various orders. I don't know if it's incumbent upon the township to advise the court about certain statements that were made about 10 minutes ago, about certain changes that are going to the SID ordinance. Well, probably the way it's going, because there's issues, you're talking about businesses, property owners. The obligation to pay the additional special improvement is on the property owners. All the benefits that you're talking about, you know, how to set up a system, goes to the business people, the businesses. We're getting a free lunch. The question you never addressed, when you compare the original ordinance that was superseded and rejected, you took away the right of the property owners to vote who the board members are. You took away their right to dissolve the entity. The question of how you talk about special, I mean, right now, 60-40, to me, that's just an arbitrary division. When you look about what the benefits of property owners in the 4 districts outside downtown get. And there's also an issue about, we hear about the word transparency and accountability. It's been all through the newspapers the last 2 days, especially about the idea about taking powers away from the state controller. You know, we're talking about our governor, talking about you need accountability, you need transparency. When you followed your Main Street, New Jersey original application, the boundaries for that application was the entire 5-district SID. The state came back to you and told you you had to redraw the boundaries, but you really have never told the public that. And when you're looking about the Main Street, New Jersey benefit, people that are getting the benefit is located downtown, and they should be the ones that are paying 100% of the SID. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Phil Kirsch, Milburn resident. I just wanted to acknowledge the passing of Jerry Saxel this past Saturday morning. Even though he never lived in this town, but he, a longtime coach and teacher, he affected so many people in this town. And I think if you look online, I think everything that can be said about him, all the positive things really, have been said. Believe it or not, I actually met him in 1964 when I was part of the ragtag recreation wrestling team that went up against the Dayton regional team. And we had something to do with giving the idea to come to Milburn. Anyway, like I said, I think everything's been said that can be said about this really wonderful man online. I would only say that maybe we can best honor him by living up to the type of character that he was and the type of principles that he always generated for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Bass, Woodward Township. Michael, all of you actually, but Michael, you're really talking about it more intensity tonight. Thank you for what you guys are doing on, with the state of New Jersey on the, housing issue with the religious, thank you so much. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you. I wanted to talk about a couple things quickly. I think that in the township, we're all like required to mow our lawn and actually keep some type of ground cover, not have like dirt all over our property. Like there has to be something. And just, it seems there's a lot of recklessness just across the town, and there's a lot of code violations, and it seems to be getting worse. And so I'm still recommending hiring more code officers. And I'm going to give an example. There's many examples, but I want to give you an example. At 165 Old Bridge Road, they have a dumpster that's on the property and they're not doing construction. So I want to understand, like, can somebody just park a dumpster for like, outside their house and they're not doing construction, and also use it as a parking lot, kind of gut up the property, not have grass growing, and just have brush like quasi ripped out and left forever. So just a suggestion, there's a lot of builders that have no times of the essence clause, and something to think about, including some type of legislation. It's one thing when a homeowner's building something and it's like, okay, well, maybe they ran out of money and like they're having a tough year. It's another thing when a builder's making a profit off our town and they're just like leaving a property for 5 years because they don't want to pay taxes and then tore the house down and left it in a wreck. Imagine if you have a nice immaculate property and you get to sit next to, a fence. So just something to think about, and I use that as an example, but I hope that somebody looks into that. And also, I wanted to talk about the SID, because I think it should be more like an 80-20 split. And I want to just have everybody think about what the SID is. So think about we all pay property taxes, and only the people in Old Short Hills, because they live in the nicest area, get to go to the school system, okay, and nobody else does. And that's what I think of when I think of the SID, because basically all the money gets focused to downtown Milburn. It looks the nicest because the best decorations are done there, the most renovations are done there, and everybody else gets sort of left in the dark. And if you look at towns like Summit, all the best stores are there, okay? Serena and Lily's there, Kohler's there, Calico Corner, they moved out. Now we have a discount mattress store, okay? This is the type of customer we're drawing in. We're drawing in 22 customers into our town. That is not a successful SID that represents what Milburn Short Hills stands for, because Milburn Short Hills is comparable to a town like Summit in terms of merchants, okay? So I think a lot of work needs to be done on that, but you can't tax people and provide those services, because just think about that comparison, and I just, wanted you to think about that. Thank you. I'm done? Okay. I know you're happy. All right. If I don't see you, I hope you all have a happy holiday. Me too.
Your resident. I have to say, I agree with Committee Deputy Mayor Cohen regarding the pocket park at Wilkes Hall and Gilberti Avenue. What concerns me more than anything is how busy that intersection is. uh, in addition to the contamination, but I just don't see it's a safe place for children or families to be crossing that intersection to go to that pocket park, because I just don't see accessibility being there. Regarding the non-resident colony flood mitigation committee, that individual has demeaned me uh, in public forums. And I will not participate in committee functions if that individual is present. They call me a know-it-all. Yet it's ironic that other technically schooled and degreed individuals on the flood mitigation committee have written me personally and thanked me for the accuracy and thoroughness and attention to detail of the work that I've done. But that individual has to call me a know-it-all. So I think it's best I just don't associate with them. So if they're there, I'm not. And happy holidays to all of you. And thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone online? Good.
Hi, good evening. I want to congratulate Jamie and Michael on their election to the Township Committee. Also, the commission referendum passage, the study commissioners that were elected, the Board of Education members. Thank you to Mrs. Romano and the retiring Board of Education members for their service to this community. I also want to thank all the volunteers, people who worked on the campaigns, as well as on election day, donors to the campaigns. We had obviously a very busy, involved campaign season, and I think that is a positive for our community. I will say, as someone who's been involved for a long time, this was a decidedly vitriolic campaign season, one that focused way too much on the politics of personal destruction, and it doesn't help our community in any way to go in that direction. So I hope that that's the end and we won't be seeing that type of campaigning in the future. I also want to particularly thank the volunteers on the Ceruto Heinrichs campaign and Mr. Heinrichs, particularly for running a very highly ethical and intelligent campaign. I trust that the newly elected body is going to focus on our town and bringing our various factions together to solve the problems that are deep and hard and that we all really do need to work together to solve. I want to, on a different subject, agree with Michael Cohen on his analysis about the pocket park, but I also understand that this is an eyesore and people on the Environmental Commission have seen it as an opportunity to do something to help with that. And so I hope that there can be a solution by the committee, as well as the Environmental Commission and the community to figure out how we can improve that particular spot. I'm also just asking, could someone provide whatever information you have either on our website or tonight at this meeting for members of the public to write to our representatives about the bill that you referred to that would undermine transparency and the investigative powers of our politicians in New Jersey? I think it would be really helpful to have that information. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Thank you. I will close public comment. Deputy Mayor, would you like to?
I don't have anything to add.
Committee Secretary?
Sure. So Ms. Pasternak, I do believe we have contact info for our two assembly members and our state senator on the website. It is the township website. It's not the easiest thing to navigate, but it is on there. Maybe we can include that contact information in this Friday's email, just at the bottom, general FYI. If you want to contact your legislators, here's the link for the township website page. Maybe that would be a good idea, maybe that's something we could do.
Piece of legislation proposing.
So in terms of the landscaper licensing, I took a look at the ordinance itself, and it turns out it does have fines. The first offense is a warning, an education on the licensing program. The second offense is a $250 fine, and then it escalates from there. And the code enforcement is the responsibility of the township's code enforcement officers, superintendent of public works, forester, and their designees. So, it's an enforcement mechanism. It also stipulates that the permit there's a decal that we'll give out when they're registered that does have to be displayed on the vehicle. I do not know if a township can, stipulate whether a landscaper's license number or contact information has to be on their vehicle. That's something I would defer to our council on. Seems like a good idea, but I don't know if that's something that we can legislate as a township. Ms. Best, you seem to indicate that you thought all of the SID benefits or money goes to the downtown. I used to think that, and then when I actually went through the process and took a look at what the SID does for all of the businesses, I would disagree with that statement. The SID actually does do a lot for the businesses in all of the districts. And it's really incumbent upon the businesses to take advantage of the services that are offered by the SID. Some businesses choose to take advantage of those services, others don't. There are good programs available if you're willing to take advantage of them, and many businesses do take advantage of them. So I would not say I don't think it's fair to say that all of the money or benefits go to the downtown, because that's not the case. That's all I have.
Committeeman Cosgrove?
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Committeeman Stoller?
Yeah, hi. So a couple things here. Mr. Kirsch, I couldn't agree with you more. My condolences to the Satchel family. Listen, my son wrestled in this town from the age of 6 all the ways up, 6 years old, all the ways through. This gentleman was a staple. He would talk to you professionally and kindly, and he agreed that it's okay to agree to disagree, which is kind of the bedrock of democracy. And he was just fantastic. So, as many condolences as we can for him. Frank, thank you for answering that to Miss Best and folks. Without all the information and actually rolling up your sleeves and looking at it, the benefits may not be known by the general public writ large, who've not gone to all of the KPIs and such. It's incumbent upon us to get all the information and look at that. And for last one is Charlie Bambera. Listen, you're a mensch. You do so much work for this town, and we appreciate you. I'd like to have a discussion with you next week, hopefully one-on-one. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Karen? Thank you.
I'm none, unless there's anybody.
Mr. Walker, anything?
Yeah, just on the license.
So,
Oh.
so the landscaping business, I would have to go closer, but just to mow lawns and take care of lawns, it's not state regulated, you don't need a state license. If you do enhanced things like put pesticides down, which I'm sure most landscapers in Melbourne do, you have to have a license to put pesticides down. I don't know if, there's a requirement that they have those numbers on their trucks. There may be, if they're putting pesticides down, so if something goes wrong, people know who to contact, but I could look into it and provide an answer, but that would be regulated by the state. I don't think that the township could regulate that though, so they'd be guided by the state statute.
I just also wanted to congratulate Committeeman-elect Ceruto. I don't know if he's still on the call or not. I don't think so. And also, tonight is our last meeting with Tim. He's leaving us.
No.
Yes.
No, say it isn't so.
That's such a bummer.
Where you going, Jim? Can you tell us?
Yeah, Tim.
So I just wanted to wish you luck and thank you for everything that
Aw.
you've done.
Wait.
And we're gonna miss you.
Where you going?
The acting city clerk in Hackensack.
Oh,
Good.
that's awesome. Good for you.
Big responsibility.
Lots
Good
of
for
luck.
you.
Second.
All the best.
Easier commute. We'll miss you. You're so
Thank
good.
you, everybody. Have a happy holiday.
Thank you.